One thing that's consistent in society and on the internet is how everyone compares themselves to or is inspired by popular media, particularly within the music and film industry. Now, for the average person, you'll more than likely never measure up to the high standards set by those industries, which might cause some of us to feel unworthy or untalented. But I'm here to tell you, it's not that you are unworthy or untalented. You might just be broke or don't have enough resources in order to make it in these Ponzi scheme-like industries. And a lot of what the media projects onto us, i.e. celebrities, artists, fame, things we aspire to be, or celebrities we idolize for being successful or admire for being self-made, are not natural or authentic, but paid for. A lot of our faves are surviving off bought fame, and without the industry's stimulus package, we wouldn't know a lot of their names. So for this video, let's have a discussion about the industry and how it's all a scam. I'll talk about how almost everything you see in entertainment is paid for, why you shouldn't idolize what you are shown by the industry, and how without the industry's stimulus package, a lot of our faves will quietly fade away. I'm Don-Anjelo. Let's get into it. A lot of what we perceive as genuine in Hollywood isn't genuine at all. Hollywood is known as the place for your wildest dreams to materialize. And while that is true, that being said, we had a lot of cautionary tales about Hollywood. For example, Dirty Diddy. Before his indictment and the barrage of lawsuits that accused him of all types of sexual assault, Diddy was a prominent influence on red carpet events, with his then girlfriend, Cassie, as his arm candy. Cassie and Diddy met in 2005. That same year, Cassie signed to Diddy's Bad Boy Records. In her deal, she agreed to release 10 studio albums, but as we all know, she only released one with Diddy's label. Cassie and Diddy dated from 2007 to 2018, and throughout their 11-year relationship, they were seen as a perfect couple, envied by many. During their relationship, Cassie was always dressed in designer. She released a few singles with high-budget music videos, starred in and appeared in a few movies. In the eyes of many, the then couple was seen as couple goals. Meanwhile, tragedy lurked in the shadows of their relationship. In consequence of Cassie's 2024 disturbing lawsuit filed against Diddy, accusing him of various types of abuse, which includes forcing her to have sex with a succession of male prostitutes while he filmed the encounters, i.e., freak-offs. We the public saw some of the abuse Cassie endured with the leaked surveillance tape that showed Diddy physically assaulting her. To sum it up, their relationship was a scam. Their wealth was used as a crutch to sell us a lie. Another instance similar to Cassie and Diddy is the Will and Jada situation. Now, Will and Jada were seen as the elite couple in Hollywood for years. Their relationship was heavily mentioned in pop culture, and their marriage was referenced as goals in many songs. Now, there hasn't been any claims of abuse by either Will or Jada. Rather, their marriage became a front, as Jada would reveal in a 2023 interview with NBC that she and Will had been separated since 2016. So during the incident where Will smacked the shit out of Chris Rock at the Oscars in 2022, in response to a joke made about Jada being bald, and him screaming,
"Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth!"
he and Jada were living separate lives the whole time.
So from the year 2016, which is 7 years ago now,
yes,
y'all have been apart.
Yeah.
But in public, the couple, who married in 1997, denied the gossip about their marriage.
A reason why many of our favorite actors and singers left the spotlight is because it's all a scam, allegedly. And the only way for scams to thrive is by supporting it with your dollars and time, whether as a member or a consumer. Example, garnering fame but broke as hell, but still keeping up appearances in the public. Fake it until you make it, they say. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. The industry prioritizes what looks good or believable, rather than what's actually true. People who fall off the train of fame are not always necessarily untalented or bad at what they do. Some of them honestly either can't or won't perpetuate their quote-unquote celebrity with money. Many in the industry have catapulted to stardom not off hard work, but bought fame. How many times have we seen insert famous person get accused of calling their own paparazzi? According to this 2017 article by Yahoo.com, ever wonder how some celebrities coincidentally get photographed in remote places, picture-perfect settings, and/or in unusual situations, and one paparazzi agency just happens to be there to exclusively snap the photos? It's simple. Many stars have photogs on speed dial when they're ready for that perfect shot. Or this 2014 post by the HuffPost. The ugly secret is some stars want to be hunted. During the great Britney Spears hunt of 2007, the Normandy of pap history, she would reportedly call select paps right before moving. Kim Kardashian routinely tipped off the paps in her early days. Someone falling off the fame radar, like Denise Richards or Tori Spelling, will make arrangements for paps to come over and shoot them with their kids. Even the publication Rolling Stone have accused celebrities of calling their own paps. In this 2021 piece, celebrity snaps used to result from hostile stalking. Now, thanks to Instagram and a pandemic, Hollywood's paparazzi industry is flourishing off pre-planned candids organized by stars themselves. One can get really far off bought fame, like the Kardashians, who have made the famous for being famous phrase more popular since their rise to fame. Now, this is just my opinion, but without their access to wealth, or how they've utilized their wealth rather, I'm sure we wouldn't know who they are today. Sure, I think they'd still be very successful, but not famous, as there are many billionaires out there that aren't necessarily celebrities or famous. Anyway, this goes for other famous families or wannabe famous families like the D'Amelios. And like the Kardashians, we have Paris Hilton, who, without her access to wealth or the way she utilized her wealth, we probably wouldn't know who she is either. Again, a very successful businesswoman. But no, a lot of our favorites in music and film utilize their funds to oversaturate the media, which in turn make us feel like they are important or bigger than they are, when the reality is they are buying their own shit.
You can be number one on every station in the country independent. It's two guys, and you give them money, and they work your song at radio.
Who are those two guys?
My own money. I pay $60,000 so they could, try to play it on the radio, on mix shows, and it still didn't went nowhere. And
now, let's shift our focus on music for a bit. Everything is paid for, including the impact and influence. Everything is marketing, which isn't free. And I wonder what it'll be like for some of these artists if the cash flow that is paying for their quote-unquote organic influence dries up. Currently, Drake and Party Next Door are incentivizing online users that include a song from their last album, Some Sexy Songs for You, in a video on social media through a system called Content Rewards on this platform named WAP. Basically, they are paying 70 cents for every 1,000 views, with some videos eligible for $500 per 1 million views. Which is ironic, seeing he's currently suing UMG for artificially boosting Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us. But isn't this another form of pay to play, as his fans or anyone will promote it for the money, not because they necessarily want to, because that album is trash. And say Drake, isn't this also not organic? I'ma say it again. These artists are paying for their own shit. And I'm not saying that every artist is paying to be famous, so you should stop supporting them. Absolutely not. Rather, money helps a lot in their solidification. It takes more than just admiration to be mega famous. They need to be boosted to seem bigger than they are. And without that boost from the industry, paying to play, paying for bots to stream their music, hiring a publicist, saturating all media with their likeness, ads, billboards, and pop-up shops, and the list goes on. A lot of them, not all, but a good majority would like Avatar Aang vanish. But didn't he come back though and save the world? Anyway, or without these money-fueled amenities I just mentioned, they would flop. Especially when it comes to promoting an album. On that note, let's talk about albums. Major acts in the music industry cannot just drop an album on the fly, and if they do, they have to be strategic about it. And even with a big budget behind its marketing and promotion, their project can still undersell. This is precisely what happened to Mariah Carey during her 2001 Glitter album era, which is also attached to the film of the same name. Now, this is what happened. Prior to the album's release on August 18, 2001, Mariah was bought out of her contract with Columbia Records for a reported, depending on the outlet you get your information from, $80 or $100 million deal under Virgin Records. Glitter was universally panned by critics. Furthermore, the album debuted at number 7 in the US, with first week sales of 116,000 copies, Mariah's lowest first week sales during her prime. The Glitter album ended up being a catastrophe for the singer, as during this period, Mariah was called crazy, and her behavior while promoting the album was described as erratic by the press. Also, after posting voice notes regarding her declined mental state, she was hospitalized for extreme exhaustion. During her hospitalization, she was diagnosed with bipolar 2, a revelation Mariah revealed with People in 2018. Additionally, due to Glitter's poor sales, Virgin had to buy her out of her $100 million contract for a reported $20 million. Therefore, Mariah had a huge budget and undersold, which leads me to wonder, would she have sold less than $100,000 if they hadn't promoted it? And as I said, this was Mariah in her prime. Mariah is definitely a star. That's not what I'm disputing here, but more so that at the center of these stars is money, and a lot of them are nothing without it. With the rise of 360 deals where labels get a cut of all an artist makes, artists are being taken advantage of in the form of slavish contracts, artists speaking out against their labels being on the rise, rampant fake facades, and the more the industry turns on itself, the more the business is exposed for what it is, a scam. Toni Braxton. Toni Braxton is a prime example that the industry isn't all it's cracked up to be. A lot of people have this perception that if an artist sold millions in album sales, that artist is set for life, or at least can live a good life. And while this should have been the case for Toni Braxton, it wasn't, as she was getting paid in pennies by her label. Toni Braxton has one of the most stellar music careers in music. She released her debut self-titled studio album in 1992 and has been a force in the music industry in a time when you needed a great distinguishable voice to make it. After releasing 2 multiple platinum selling albums, and at that point selling over 20 million records worldwide, the singer would file a lawsuit against her labels Arista and LaFace Records for unpaid royalties before filing Chapter 7 in 1998. While on tour in the 90s, Toni Braxton discovered she wasn't making any money. She was spending money provided by the label in the form of advances, but there was no money coming in. And this is what happened to artists that sign bad contracts. They think that because they sold a lot of records, the royalties are coming in, but they forget that they owed the label. And also, her royalty rate was low as She only received $1,972 in royalties before filing for bankruptcy.
How did that happen? Because I allowed all my finances to become everyone else's finances. That's pretty much how I got here. A lot of the, you wear, like you said, the expensive dresses and the shoes and all that kind of stuff. But what was happening, I was financing personally with my career, the image that everyone sees. I was the one financing it.
So most people are, because the old studio days are long gone with Elizabeth Taylor.
But if someone's making $170, $180 million and I got 1/20th or 100th of that, it makes it almost virtually impossible.
Prior to her going public with her financials, she was at the AMAs looking expensive, getting awards. Everything projected to the public was that everything is okay. She looked like what a star is supposed to look like. Meanwhile, she was in debt. And as I said, her royalty rate was pretty low, so there was no chance she will actually pay it back, as it's the percentage of the projects she owns that will actually pay for the advances before she actually starts making money. Example, if you got a $100,000 advance and you only own 5% of that project, it's your 5% that's gonna have to generate $100,000, not the gross of said project. So labels are making 10 times what they gave the artist before the artist starts getting royalties. If this is not a Ponzi scheme or a scam, I don't know what is. And this goes even deeper, as the music industry, like when their artists are easily managed so they can take all their monies. They will gas their artists up by telling them only good things, like everything will be okay, or we're gonna make you a star. But they never actually prepare these artists for fame or for the downfall, because that will happen. So a lot of these artists are not prepared by their label, not even for the money that they are owed. Drake has to be the biggest scam artist to come from the music industry when it comes to image or persona, like Milli Vanilli. But let's focus on Drizzy Drake. He raps about being a real bodman, but sues UMG for defamation after Kendrick Lamar called him a pedophile on Not Like Us. During their rap beef, he went low and called Kendrick a domestic abuser that's fathering another man's child, so basically a cuck. But as soon as Kendrick called him a pedophile, he ran straight to the courts, talking about, we sue you. And the thing is, Drake knew that people were calling him a pedo for a while now, before Not Like Us. As on the track, Another Late Night featuring Lil Yachty, he said this:
My bank account is mad, million rockin' eight. What is in my comment talking about some million Bobby look.
But the root of his lawsuit is the reputational damage caused by the beef, which affected his upcoming deal with Universal, i.e., UMG is not cutting that check because his market value is now tanking, and in his view, he's being lowballed by the label. Fast forward to present time, his new joint album with Party Next Door isn't doing so good compared to his last joint album with 21 Savage. They are paying people to promote the album. Drake called himself a certified lover boy, but based on his actions, he's more like a certified bitch. But his whole career tried his hardest to maintain that he was about that life. And a lot of people bought it. He scammed you all. Not me, baby. Taylor Swift. We are in the age where you can leverage your resources for high chart entries. And if your name is big enough, you can secure a #1 album. We saw this happen with Taylor Swift, who unleashed an onslaught of 36 variants thus far of her album, The Tortured Poets Department, on the globe, in order to top the Billboard 200 album chart for 17 non-consecutive weeks, blocking other artists from going #1, as the different strains of her albums were counted by Billboard with each release. She basically released 36 deluxe, if we are being real. And while I'm not personally mad because she peeped game, it is a form of chart manipulation in my opinion. So with insane access, artists can make themselves seem like they're all that in a bag of chips, when in fact, they bought it. And it's not only Taylor Swift and Drake who do these blatant chart manipulations or payola tactics. Jay-Z did this with his 13th studio album, Magna Carta Holy Grail. Jay-Z partnered with Samsung, where his album was made available to the first 1 million customers for free download on a series of Samsung phones. These free digital downloads were also counted towards the overall sale of the album by Nielsen SoundScan, meaning the album got certified platinum as a result of free downloads paid for by Samsung. Now, although Billboard did not factor in those downloads, Jay-Z still got a platinum plaque for shipping 1 million units when they were already paid for in the deal with Samsung. In 2016, they tried this with Rihanna as well, with her Anti album, but it fell flat for Rihanna and made her look really bad in the end for a short period. And yes, she got the headline that Anti went platinum. However, after Billboard reported the actual first week sales were 16K, she became a laughingstock on the net. And while Anti has gained in its actual numbers over time, and it also did eventually go #1, this still proves that these people, love them or hate them, are paying for their own shit to look bigger than they actually are. In my opinion, these paid for deals should not be recognized right across the board, because the artist is literally paying for their own plaques while also making a ton of money. The industry is not what it seems. Almost everything is in disguise, and we are sold dreams and lies that make a lot of us feel bad about ourselves. Meanwhile, clown rapper 6ix9ine's jewelry is being auctioned off by the IRS, and Angie Stone, who recently passed a few days ago, rest in peace, back in December, dragged Universal for owed royalties.
A lot of my publishing, a lot of my royalties, my mechanicals, they have all pretty much been stolen. After 40-something years in the business, I'm like, where are my royalties going? Because I'm not getting this. Come to find out, Universal Music has been receiving all my royalties, all my mechanicals. They've taken pretty much everything. They've stolen, I won't say stolen, but they have taken all the monies that were due to me. They have basically absorbed in that company. Even though there's several class action lawsuits, people that were working on my behalf never even registered the songs. All the songs that I've done, I'm only coming to find out they were not properly registered by the companies that I signed over to, people that were supposed to do their due diligence. So I'm truly a walking testimony that God has carried me all this time, because if you only knew how much money they have taken from me, how much they have stolen from me, monies that I'm supposed to be, I should have been able to retire 20 years ago with the money I've made. So I'm just here to let you know, one way or the other, Universal Music, you're going to have to give up my coins. And so what I'm doing now is whatever is necessary to make sure they pay me for the legacy of my life, for my children and my grandchildren. They're going to have to give me my money.
Now let's segue back to Hollywood for a bit. Recently, actor Jimon Honsu revealed that after 30 years of starring in blockbuster movies and being a 2-time Oscar nominee, he is struggling financially.
I mean, I'm still struggling trying to make a living.
After 30 years in this business?
After, no, well, let's speak, 30 years, let's say like maybe the first 10 years was really trying to, sort of acclimate myself to the industry.
And establish yourself.
And establish myself. I've been in this business and making films now over 2 decades, and still, with 2 Oscar nominations, been in many big blockbuster films, and yet I'm still struggling financially to make a living. I'm definitely underpaid.
And I know people were dragging him after, saying, but you own this and you own that. As I said, a lot of these people perpetuate the glamorous lifestyle. The life's good all the time attitude is not true. A lot of them are in so much debt. Being a popular actor doesn't mean you automatically have financial literacy, or the things you are seeing with means that they own it. Taraji P. Henson, who has been acting for years now, also had this same sentiment of being underpaid in Hollywood, but at the same time has to keep up appearances like everything is good because she's Taraji P. Henson.
Big bills come with what we do. We don't do this alone. The fact that we're up, is a whole entire team behind us. Yes. They have to get paid. So when you hear someone saying, oh, such and such made $10 million, no, that's not, that didn't make it to their account. Know that off the top, Uncle Sam is getting 50%. That's right. Okay? So do the math. Now we have $5 million. Your team is getting 30% or whatever your team is off of what you grossed. Sometimes not more. After what Uncle Sam took. Now do the math. So I'm only human, and it seems every time I do something and I break another glass ceiling, when it's time to renegotiate, I'm at the bottom again like I never did what I just did, and I'm just tired. I'm tired. I'm tired. I have other things because this industry, if you let it, it'll steal your soul. But I refuse to let that happen.
Yes. I know this video might be interpreted as doom and gloom or don't try to be famous. That's definitely not my goal, not at all. I just find it interesting that we idolize and admire scams, and some of us don't even know it. But until we all collectively see these celebrities as just people, and these titles like artist and actor are just jobs at the end of the day. But until then, I don't think this circle of idolization and perpetuation of bullshit will ever stop, because in general, life too is its own Ponzi scheme. What do you think? I am Don, your pop culture boy, and I will see you in the next one.